Leaving Denver now and making a slow trek to Salt Lake City.
Thank you.
So, take a picture
Yep, it's harder to go down than up.
The shortcut's going down.
Come here in.
This way, Asher.
You're on the way back.
There's a lot of people. I'm in Rocky Mountain National Park, northwest of Denver. I went to Bear Lake first. This was very popular and crowded. Someone actually brought a wireless boombox. People were yelling across the lake to hear their echo. Then I decided to take another trail, and this is where I could really soak in the beauty. Actually, driving in, when I first caught sight of the mountains, it was too much beauty in one go. It was too concentrated. I had to turn away, absorb what I just saw, and then turn back again. It is said that before we go to heaven, we have to enter a new body, a spiritual body. Because if we see heaven in the body we have right now, we would enter some kind of seizure. It would be too much majesty. So I went on another trail. There were some side trails I could take. I'm actually on a horse trail now to get away from everybody. That could be against the law, so I'm like a rebel. And I sat beside the waterfalls and the rapids, the small rapids. And it has put me in a state of utter tranquility. It's almost like the state after you get up from a nap, but without the fatigue. If you come to a national park and you're in a trail that's very crowded, don't get upset. There are many other places. Parks are big. You just have to put the time to find it. And not even that much time. So this is day one in Rocky Mountain National Park. I'm going to spend the night in a nearby town and then drive through the western part of the park where hopefully I will see some real animals. The only animals I saw here was chipmunks and squirrels, not even birds. I was a little bit sad about that. I brought these guys for nothing. That's okay. One last thing I wanted to say is that the forest has a invariably sweet-smelling aroma, like Christmas, because of all the spruce and fir trees. That only enhances the sensory experience. So don't come to this park with a stuffy nose, or it may not be worth coming. This is day 2 of the Rocky Mountains. Please don't make me go back in the cities. I just want to stay here right next to the Colorado River. I took a side trail. There's nobody here. Today I saw a big herd of elk, and there were a lot of baby elks, and I wanted to go up to one and take one home with me. And by home, I mean the back seat of my car. I would give it a great name, such as Bert the elk, and raise it to be my own. But there was a park ranger there, and he would not allow it. I went to the mountain, the alpine tundra area, and it was cold but nice. There was a lot of wind. I got up to about 12,000 feet. I looked at some of the mountain views and it took my breath away. No, really it did, because the altitude was very high. I had trouble breathing. But it was nice. But I like this more. I'm back down in the valley. You can see mountains back over there. A lot of trees and stuff. There's the river. I found a nice place where I can sit down. And I tried to identify a bird earlier, but I didn't have signal on my phone, so my bird app, it failed me. So at the bookshop, I bought a book. Birds of North America pocket guide. It's small. I paid $12.95. That's a good deal. So I'll be carrying that book around with me anytime I go outdoors. Is it possible to build a garden on a mountain? Whoa, what was that? Some fast-moving squirrel. It almost killed me. Should I get out the bear spray? That squirrel was trying to hurt me. I got the bear spray. Step up to me, squirrel. I'll show you who's boss. Oh, that was scary. He's trying to assert dominance over me. He's more alpha than me. I doubt he's scared right now. Well, I got bear spray. What was I saying before the squirrel came? Oh yeah. Is it possible to build a garden on a mountain? Because I want to be a mountain garden boy. I don't see a lot of gardens here. That's something I'm going to have to research. So on westward I go. It's very sad that I have to leave this. I wish I could camp right there. I can live there and stay there. And the name of this series would change from Babylon Road to Mountain Life, number 1. Onwards. Hey, go. I went to Hanging Lake in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. No one told me where that lake was on. A big mountain. I had to climb 1,200 feet. Well, that was difficult. They say that 90% or so of people, they don't make it all the way up because it's so hard, but I made it up. There were a couple of 5-year-old kids that seemed to do well too. I should win or be given a mountaineering award for that feat that I accomplished. You get up to the lake and you're greeted by turquoise blue water, so clean. I wanted to dive in to scrub all the dirt off my face, but there was a sign saying that you couldn't do that. bird guide already, paid off dividends. I identified as Stellar J with the book. He had a cool mohawk. I found a bench and I took a nap on it. It was quite pleasant. And now I'm cooking in the sun by, I think this is the Colorado River. Some nice canyons. The sounds of the cars echo in a sing-song way off the canyon. Now I go further west.
Welcome to Utah.
I found a quiet spot on Mars, also known as Arches National Park. The National Park Service gave its explanation to how these arches were made. It was like a game of Darwinian bingo. They threw everything at it. There was ice, glaciers, earthquakes, salt formations, hundreds of millions of years, wind, everything. They actually said that only the bottom parts of the rock eroded and the wind took out that part, leaving the arch. Okay. One placard said, "Look at the power of erosion." Yeah, erosion has a goal of beauty, and the arches, objectively speaking, are beautiful. Erosion cares about beauty. But it just happened in a random way. There is nothing driving it. Human consciousness is random. Nothing guides it. It just is. And we wonder why people are such nihilists these days when we give them explanations such as that. When I was trying to soak in the arches, people were talking. And the way that the park is set up, the way how tall the rocks are, it really carries the voices through. And one thing I can tell you is that there is no speech or no word that you can say before these formations that means anything. Before these arches, your words are nothing, are zero. People were talking about dumb stuff, their jobs, where the parking lot is. Just be quiet, please. I think I'm getting too used to the solitary enjoyments. If I ever get admitted in jail to solitary confinement, I may like it. Just peace. Please control your kid. Give them the quiet voice. Kids are yelling. Adults are talking about gibberish. Just enjoy the rocks. I found myself for a minute alone before a great arch. And there was a girl walking alone too. She was thin but tatted up. She had a full arm sleeve. And the memories of my fornication days told me that she's thirsty. She is looking for a sex partner. She was milling around, and then she stopped about 20 feet away from me, and she looked at me and said, "It's quiet." "Well, not anymore, you big dummy, you just talked." I looked at her without saying a word and gave her just one nod. I don't do that anymore. When you're a man who is not as thirsty as you once were, you can really identify a woman who craves the intimacy. Well, I'm sure there is a man that she can find at the bar tonight. I can admit to you that I'm getting very irritated, and it's because I'm traveling too fast, I'm seeing too many things, I'm driving too much. My sleep isn't as good as I wish it was. The problem with this part of the country in the West is that there's so many parks. For every one park I'm seeing, there's 10 that I miss out on. And in spite of that, I mean, the fear of missing out in this part of the country is very large. Because I know that I probably won't come back here. I won't do a car trip tour. So it's like, I gotta get it in. But when you are irritated, you can't enjoy the sights. So I believe that we were not designed to travel that fast, to soak in mountain after mountain, desert, rocks, lakes, what have you. So I believe I'm hitting the limit in what I can process and what I can see while still enjoying it. I mean, I'm still happy that I am here, but I'm tense, I'm tense. So I got one more week, at least 1.5 weeks until I hit the West Coast. So until then, I may have to push myself a bit more just to see these things that I may never see again. And then once on the West Coast, it's going to be mostly cities. And so if I can just gather the strength to keep pushing just a little bit more, because the western part, I mean, the parks that they have here is truly something else. We don't have this on the East Coast. So I hope I have the strength to keep on going. And now I'm going to cut north.
Players out, big cheer, and get the show started. 1, 2, lucky me! Here we go. Fire goes out.
Bye.
That's a golden eagle, Julian.
Is that for me? Can I have it? Thanks, guy. I'll treasure it forever. I gotta give it back to you. Oh, I dropped it.
See what looks like next weekend. Yeah.
If you didn't tell me that there were Mormons in Salt Lake City, I wouldn't have been able to tell that this is essentially the Mormon capital of the world. Outside of the temple grounds where the Mormon temple is, this city is just as bad as any other American big city that I've been to, and in some cases it's worse. The amount of degeneracy I'm seeing in Salt Lake City, it shocked me. I went to a burger bar, I think it was called Lucky 13. Everyone was tatted up. The waitresses, the customers, one guy had a tattoo skull and tattoos coming down his sideburns. And this was extremely common. I went to the original Pancake House and the people were huge. They were ordering double meals and just stuffing their faces. And I kind of learned my lesson from Lancaster, that if there's a little group that is very faithful, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to rub off on anyone else. And that is true in Salt Lake City too. But the problem with the Mormons, and I've talked to a lot of men who are current Mormons and former ones, is that it doesn't look like the Mormons have what it takes to resist the mainstream culture. If anything, they're in a hurry to adopt it. And you can argue that the Mormon doctrines have some problems. They believe that the Father and the Son are made of a different essence, which could indicate they are polytheistic. But all doctrines aside, they are starting to succumb to the secular winds. Utah used to be the most fertile state in the United States highest birth rate. Now South Dakota is. You will find Mormons of a strong faith, but the big problem, and what's going to get them, is that a lot of non-Mormons are moving into Utah. A lot of foreigners, a lot of Hispanics, and this is going to pierce the Mormon bubble. Because to be a Mormon, I don't know so much about the faith, but there's a lot of rules that you have to follow. And when you introduce a lot of non-Mormons, it becomes easier to break those rules. So the success of the Mormons in the past, I believe, were more dependent of everyone around them was like them. And I can't tell, at least when you see the Amish and the Mennonites, you can tell that they are the Amish. But here you can't tell. The Mormons, they blend in. And of course, this is the city. And I believe that Satan, to counteract the faith of the Mormons, has sent the most degenerate people in the United States to live here, to corrupt the Mormons. So if you go into the suburbs, you don't have that kind of problem. But if Salt Lake City, which has a nominal Mormon population of between 40 to 50%, which means that the practicing faithful in the city is 10 to 25%. If Salt Lake City can't resist the globo homo, American cities have no chance. Zero chance. That has pierced my heart, that American cities are finished. They are done. So either you can have the choice to get out now when you have a lot of time to choose a pleasant place, or you get out when the problem gets so bad that you're forced out. And this doesn't necessarily mean you have to leave because of violence, of mobs, looting, but because of the homelessness, the crime, the drug use in the cities gets so bad, you just don't want your children to walk around heroin needles on the way to school. And that is here. You saw homeless people with camping chairs. They're outside, they're splayed on the sidewalk. And, I complain about my hometown, Washington, D.C. a lot, but the further west I go, the worse it's getting. I almost want to cancel all my tour stops on the West Coast. I really don't want to go anymore. I was going to attend a liturgy in a Greek Orthodox church today, which is a Sunday, but I received an email a day before from someone who reads me, inviting me to his Antiochian Orthodox church, the St. Peter's and Paul church. St. Peter and Paul. And I went to his church, and the priest, Father Justin, his sermon was excellent. I was hearing him speak, and I thought, this guy gets it. He knows what is going on. He knows the evil in the world. He knows that it's increasing. He talked about entertainment, the media, the smartphone. He understood it. And the church itself was a young parish. There was kids everywhere. Young kids, too. It was like little rugrats were scooting along. I haven't seen a parish so young. And then afterwards, in the coffee hour, I waited till it was a little bit quiet, and I had the chance to introduce myself to Father Justin. And I told him about my journey and what I was doing. And then I mentioned, hey, I was at Holy Cross Monastery in Wayne, West Virginia. And he said, did you talk to Father David? And my eyes opened, because that's the monk that I talked to there. Turns out that Father Justin and Father David were friends in college. So that was a great bit of divine providence. And I got a lot of joy from that. So that was the highlight, and I saw the birds, the poor caged birds, but it was good to increase my birding ability. But unfortunately, overall, I leave Salt Lake City with a pessimistic outlook on what is going on in the cities of the United States. I have no faith that these cities can overcome the challenges that are facing them. If Salt Lake City can't do it, if Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is a lot smaller, you think that they could begin to overcome these problems, then the cities are essentially done. If you can prove to me otherwise, please prove it to me. Please give me data, give me arguments that say, no, American cities are going to be fine. If you can give the counter argument, please do so. So unfortunately, I leave Salt Lake City with a heavy heart that the cities are basically done. It was a failed experiment, and we're going to have to start to see how to rebuild from the outside in. So rebuild from starting in the suburbs, and then when things get really bad, you're going to have to move out of the suburbs too and go further out. So that's what I leave with Salt Lake City, and now I am going to go to Seattle. The gauntlet begins. The next 4 events are Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. If you are a religious person, please pray for me during these four stops. So I have to get to Seattle in a few days. If you want to join my Seattle tour and see me as I give my first impressions on the city, please go to Roosh.live and you can grab your ticket then. So talk soon.